Hi, this is Tutor from Uplatz, and this is a fourth module of Salesforce learning session. I have divided this module into two parts. Now we will discuss the first part, and we will discuss the second part in our next video. If you want to know more about Uplatz, you can log on to uplatz.com, or you can contact Uplatz by mentioning the email and the phone number on the slide. Today we will talk about objects, and then we will talk about standard and custom objects, fields, and data types. I'll explain different types of relationships, master detail relation and lookup. As we already have a bit of idea what are relationships and as objects, and what is master detail and lookup. And now we will talk something in more detail. At the end, we will talk about search layouts. Objects, as we have already know, object is a table in RDBMS parlance, but has more powerful features than just acting as a storage space. Object can store information about students, customers, accounts, etc. in tabular format, columns, fields. Objects have relationships. You can run reports, and such object supports SFDC security framework automatically. We have two types of as objects. One is standard objects and then custom objects. Then both of the objects have fields, standard and custom fields. Ob Once an object is created without writing a single code, a user interface gets created automatically, which helps to search, view, edit the existing records, create new records, see related list of objects, etc. Two types of objects are standard and custom objects. Example of standard objects are available in the Sales Cloud and Service Cloud modules. Accounts, leads, opportunities, case, solutions, etc. You can leverage the advanced platform features such as Apex, Visual Force, Lightning components to retrieve records, add, modify, delete records using SOCL and DML statements. Now, before we jump into the next slide, let's log on to Salesforce. I'll go to this website, login.salesforce.com. Here I have my username password. I click on this login button. Here it landed us onto the setup page. If we go to this wrench icon, if we click on the setup button, then it will land us here on the setup page. So by default, we are a system administrator. So by default, when we log on to Salesforce, this is our default page. We can change it in our profile settings. We'll do that in our later modules. So as we have already know, if we want to see all the applications here, we click on this app launcher. Either we can search the application or we can click any of the application. For example, if I click here on sales, I can see as objects or tabs related to sales module, related to Sales Cloud. If you see here opportunities, accounts, and contacts. If you want to see records inside the contact, you can click on contacts. By default, when we create free developer edition of Salesforce, then we have some sample data. Currently, the list view is recently viewed, and we have not viewed anything recently on contact object. If we want to see all the contacts here in our organization, all we need to do is to change the view from this drop down. From recently viewed, I change it to all contacts. Now we can see all the contacts created in our Salesforce org. Currently, we will be working on student applications. So I go to Uplatz University, I click on it. And right now we don't have much in our application because as of now, we have just created one S object named student. Instead of recently viewed, if I change it to all, then still we have one record because as of now, we have not created much. If I click on this object, instead of Uplatz 1, I gave it a meaningful name. We can edit the record anytime we want. Let's say I give a name John. I click on save button and record is saved. Now, since this application is all about managing student data, the name, it doesn't The name doesn't fulfill all the requirements. We must have more information about students, like when did student joined this Uplatz University, what is the date of birth, and what subject he is studying. We need all these informations. As of now, we have created just students, but we also need to create some more fields in this student as object. There are two ways to edit any subjects or to modify or add any fields to the subjects. One way is to we click on this wrench icon. We can click on this edit object. And here we landed on the object manager, student and details. Another way is if you want to edit any object, you need to go to this gear icon. You click on it, you click on setup. From setup, you click on object manager. From object manager, you can search name of the object. Student, you click on student. You click on student, and here it is the same page here. You- So now we need some more fields in student as subject. From instead of details, we click on fields and relationships. And the notepad, I have mentioned some of the fields. These fields are already there in the previous slide as well. So now we need address of student. For address, to create another field name address, we need to click this new button. Here we will have these data types to create a text box. If we want to create a text box like this name here, if you click on this edit, you see this is a text box. But sometimes addresses are have a long addresses are longer in length. We have number of words in a particular address, so we want this a larger box instead of this. To have the larger box, we can use text area. We click on this button next, give this a name address. We can give description or help text, or we can mention it as required. Then we click on next. Here we have all the profiles. Who users who have these profiles can access this field. As of now, there's not many profiles here, not many users to this organization. It's just system administrator. Either I can check all these profiles, or I'll check system administrator. If we in future, if we create more users, then we have to check this standard user profile. For if we have other standard users, then we will check this box for standard user, so that standard user can see this field. So as of now, I'll leave this blank. I'll check only system administrator. I'll click on next. Then we have the layout. Student layout, we have by default, Salesforce creates one layout. Layout is just how we want to see the data. Currently we have student layout as a page layout. We can change this layout. We will do that in later. And I click on save and new or save. We want to create some more fields as well, so currently we will click on save and new. We'll go to then age. We want age of student. Now here in the list of data types, we will choose number data type. I click on next. I give field label age. Length is, let's give 4. Field name, then we have description, help text. We have required. If we if we if we want this field to be required each time we create a record, we can check this. Otherwise, if we leave this field as blank, then still we will be able to save this record. Right now we will, well, I'm not checking this true. and unique, as the name signifies. Once this field has data, the same thing cannot be repeated in future records. External ID, as we have seen in the on our previous slide, external ID will check this and it will be marked as external ID, which will be helpful in when we do data loading and or we'll do in data integration. As of now, I'll leave this as as default. Go to next. We have the number of profiles. Let's leave this as it is and then click on next. Then we have the student layout here. I click on save and new. Then we will be creating date of birth here. From the data types, we need date of birth. So I'll choose a uh, data type, data type. Sorry, I'll just copy date of birth, paste it here, and field label and field names are two different things. Field label can repeat its name, but field label must be unique. And if I click outside this box, it'll automatically generate field name. It cannot have spaces, and it will have underscore C appended when we save this field. Then again, we have description alt text. I'll leave this as default. Click on next. I'll leave all those profiles as default. Click on next. I click on save and new. Date of joining. Date of joining. Again, we will creating the date field here. Then next. Date of joining, field name, description and help text. I'll leave this as default. Everything. I'll leave this as default. Again, I click on save and new. We need some more fields to be created here. To create these date of birth, date of joining, and email, we can use a text field. It will serve our purpose, but if we don't want invalid data, then we can choose these particular data types. For example, we cannot have invalid dates in the data type. So currently now we need email. We have explicitly email data type available. Instead, the difference between choosing email and text is email. It will make sure we have the quality data. So it will make sure when we create a record, it will make sure that the user is entering a valid email ID with the @ and dot. We selected email. Click on next. And field label, I give email. Then all those options we have discussed already. Click on next. Leave this as default. Click next. Leave this as default and click save and new. Phone first. Again, for the quality data, we have a phone data type available. I click on phone. Click on next. Give data type as phone. I'll leave all those options as default. Next, again, the profiles. Student layout. I'll click on save and new. Now we will create other contact details. For other contact details, we again choose phone data type. We click on next. Other contact details. I'll leave all the option as default. Click on next. All the profiles, leave it as default. Student, and click save and new. And at last, we want social security number. For this, we will choose text encrypted. The only difference between text and text encrypted is when the users who have read-only access, people who have read-only access, they still won't be able to see the value inside the encrypted text. We will see that in action in few minutes. Field label, I give social security number. I click outside the box. It created field name length. Let's give 12. Mask type, again, mask all characters. My last four, credit card number, national insurance. Currently we will go with mask all characters. Then mask character, it's either star or X. I'll go with X. I will click on next. Again, profiles, leave it as defaults. Next. Then finally we'll hit the save button instead of save and new. Now, if you see, we have the field labels and field names, and we have created these custom fields. There is underscore C appended to their name. Okay, now if we go to the front here, if I refresh this page, here we go. I can see other fields, but there is no data in other fields because we created this record before creating all these fields in the student object. Now, if we click on this edit, we'll give a valid address here. I can give age as 22, date of birth. This is the one benefit of using a date data type instead of a text data type. This is the benefit of using date of birth. Either we can type it here, or we can click on this a calendar icon, or we can select a date. If instead of date, if we have created a simple text field, then it should look like this. Or this. For in age, we chose a number data type. So if I type any alphabet, it won't accept that. Now we click on date of birth. Here I can choose birth here, 1998, February 2nd. Date of joining, I'll give today's date. Email, we can give, for right now, let's say QWERTEY. I give an invalid email address as of now. Phone number, I give 123456789. Other contact details, I leave this blank. Social security number, I'll give 1234566. Okay, now if I hit save, you'll see there is error on the page. The error is invalid email address. We can use email as a text field. If we have used text data type instead of email, then such error won't be there. Now, to make this a proper email address, I need to give @ then gmail.com. Now I click on save. This is another plus point of email data type. Now you see this makes more sense. We didn't add the address. We have the age of student, date of birth of student, date of joining, email, phone, other contact details. We can leave this fields which we are not marking as required. We can leave those fields as blank. As of now, I didn't mark required to any of these fields. Social security number, you can see X's are here. It should show the data. I need to refresh this page. I'll just refresh this page. I refresh this page. I click on this. It should show the previous data. But anyhow, let's edit it from here. Here, social security number. I cannot see social security number from here. I can either do some changes on this record, or click save, or click save and new and cancel. Okay, so in this module, now till so far we we know what our application, how to navigate to the applications, how we are now familiar with how to create objects or as objects. Same thing, how we can create as objects in Salesforce, and how we can add some fields, how to create records in as objects. We familiarize ourselves with the different data types. So as of now, this is pretty much for the first part of the session. I'll covering the rest of the things related to this session on our next module. Till then, thank you so much. Have a happy learning.